I'm going to be going over Springfield Armory's Hellcat. However, there is a catch. This gun right here is California compliant. That means Springfield Armory had to add certain safety features that the state of California requires gun manufacturers to put on their guns to be able to sell them in the state of California. So this gun is a little bit different than what you'd see if you bought a Hellcat in the other 49 states. We'll be going over what makes it California compliant, as well as all the features to see if you California residents want to buy one, or if you're from one of the freedom states and you could just go buy a normal Hellcat, you'll be able to see what us California residents have to abide by. For those of you that care, this is what the gun came in. The soft case. It actually came with another flush mag that I've already lost. Apologies. So this is it, Springfield Armory's Hellcat. This is the California compliant model. And this is what you go pick up, should be able to pick up at any California store, as long as they have them in stock, gun store. This thing right here, the first thing that really catches my attention is this grip. This right here, this finger groove actually feels amazing. I'm a big Glock guy, and in the state of California, we could only get Gen 3s, and I absolutely love the grips, the finger grooves on the Gen 3s. So not only do I love the finger groove here, and I don't even know if you guys could really tell a ton in this, but there is a finger groove there. So that feels amazing, but the texture on this as well. So the texture on Glocks, if that's something you're coming from, they're actually terrible. This thing right here is very well textured, and it actually has it right up here too. So when you got your grip on the gun, just helps hold your grip. So that's the first thing that really catches my eye. I do have larger hands. A Glock 17 typically fits my hand perfectly. So just for reference, my hand is just barely hanging off this thing. So my hand feels absolutely awesome on this gun. And this grip is actually very short width-wise. But when you look from this direction, this thing is stubby. It's got some good girth when you're looking at it from this direction. So that actually makes it feel really, really well. I think the M&P shield is actually slightly wider this way, but much skinnier this way. I know they changed that in the Plus, which just also got added to the California roster. But the normal shield, but that we've all been used to in California, is so much skinnier than this one. I actually have one. So to compare a shield to this Hellcat here, you're actually looking at quite the difference. I know it's probably tough to tell on camera rather, but there's quite the difference there. And with this shield right here, although the frame is actually same width, or shield might even be a little wider, the grip is just so skinny. I can't get much of a grip on this thing. I really don't like it. Just doesn't shoot very well for me. So this thing's nice and wide where it just fits my hand very, very well. So that's the first thing I love on this gun. Next thing we're going to look at on this gun is the trigger. It really doesn't have a ton of pre-travel. However, when you get back to this quote-unquote wall, it's really not very defined at all, and there's a ton of creep in it. See that movement right there? Then finally it pulls the trigger. It's like you never really know when this thing's going to break. Really just doesn't have much of a wall. So as I have this shield out here for comparison, this thing right here, when you pull the trigger, that's the pre-travel it has, not much. And then, boom, it's just very, very defined wall. Very defined. So it's a big difference from the Hellcat. I'll show you again. There's a ton of creep in this thing. You never know when it's going to break. So I personally think the trigger feels terrible. I'm going to try not to get in too much trouble here with YouTube, because when you are shooting gun videos, they don't want you to actually take the magazine out of the gun and show you. So I'm going to try to do this a little bit off camera, but with this gun right here, when you go to do a reload, you'll drop the magazine. So just hit the button. See, I hit the button, and that's all the magazine does. So I don't know if the Hellcats in other states that are not California compliant, that don't have the magazine disconnect, maybe they just drop free. But that's something I really like about some of my other guns, is you just hit the magazine, release, and the mag just drops straight on the ground. You don't have to take it out with the other hand. And most guns don't require two hands. Even the shield right here, if I was to just hit the button, watch, you could hear the mag hit the table, one hand. So that's something I really dislike about this gun, as well as the magazine doesn't drop with just the click of the button. The sights on this gun, at first I thought I really liked them. Picked it up, drew it a couple times,
felt like I was pretty quick to get it on target. And then when I was actually shooting this gun at the range, I figured out I didn't really like them very much. Really, I feel like sights are more or less preference. Like a lot of people actually hate Glock sights, and I really like them. So totally up to you guys. Front one is glow in the dark. Um, they're really not too bad. When I took it to the range, I wasn't a big fan. This gun does come cut and ready for a optic. If you want to get a little red dot on here, it is ready to go. A lot of the other guns, such as the Shield, such as every single Glock on our California roster, you have to send your gun off or send your slide off and get it cut and milled by some gun shop or whoever's offering the service, and so you're away from your gun for a while, as well as I think it costs like $200 to get this done. So this is a super awesome feature. Not a lot of guns on our roster have this available, so something super cool. And if you're looking to throw a red dot on your gun, this is a great gun to do it for. Next thing about this gun that I really like is when you are shooting your gun, you don't have to adjust your grip. This magazine disconnect, magazine release rather, is very great. It sticks out really far, not too far to where you're hitting it or have to worry about hitting it. It actually feels pretty flush, but once you learn where this thing is, it's super easy to hit. Where most of my, going back to the Glocks, you have to actually move your hand and adjust your hand and get over here to hit that magazine release. So something super cool about this, you don't have to worry about adjusting your grip when you're actually firing this thing. You can just hit it with the one hand, pull out your magazine, throw a new one in. So that's something that is super cool about it, even though the magazine doesn't drop with one hand. The last thing that I really do love about this gun is this rail on the bottom here for a light. So believe it or not, a lot of carry guns don't come with one. Look at this Shield here, does not have the rail down there for a light. So if you are looking for a gun to conceal carry or home defense or anything like that, and you're ever going to be using this thing in the dark or at night, you're going to be able to throw a light on there, and I think that's awesome. The last change that Springfield Armory had to make to this gun to make it California compliant is the loaded chamber indicator. So this actually says loaded when up. You go in the rack, it's a dummy round. When you go and rack a round in, you can see this little piece comes up. So you know that your gun has a bullet in the chamber at all times whenever it is loaded. And of course, if you pull your magazine out and you have a round in the chamber, you can't fire it. California says that is a safety requirement that us Californians have to have with our pistols.
This gun does also have some nice slide serrations on it, front and rear. If you have a dot on it, got some little grip in the front right there. Normal rack, you got them in the back. So they not only function well, but they look really good. This gun functions really well. I've had about 300 rounds through it, and all the videos online you see, you're going to see people that are throwing a lot of rounds through these things with minimal to no issues, as it should be. In my opinion, but that's why this gun is being reviewed today. Probably wouldn't be talking about a gun that doesn't have any well function. So take a look at this thing. If it fits your hand really well, that's what I always advise, especially new people buying guns. If it fits your hand really well, that's something that you'll be comfortable and confident shooting. So that's what I'd recommend. But go to the gun store, take a look, see what you like. Go maybe rent a gun or have a buddy that owns one. Go to the range with you, try it out. So don't just take my word for it. Go and check them out. If you folks have any other questions about this one and want to see a follow-up video, let me know in the comments down below, and maybe we'll do a follow-up. Till next time.